Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am coming at you today with a collection of my favorite highlighters. And let me just tell you, this is not going to be a top 5 video because I honestly, while I could pick my top 5 favorite highlighters for me personally, I wanted to give you a vast variety of options, not only in formula, but also in intensity. So what I've done is I have compiled some of my very favorite highlighters, and let me tell you, I'm gonna be talking about 14 highlighters in this video. I have many, many more in my drawer. If I've talked about loving something else, I still love it. These are the ones that if I had to only keep a certain amount, I would keep these. Am I saying you need 14 highlighters in your collection? Absolutely not. But that's why I wanted to do this video, so that you could decide this is the one or this is the two, these are the two that I want to keep in my collection based on your preferences for intensity and formula. So I'm gonna start out with creams slash liquids, and then I'm gonna go subtle to mid to blinding in powder formula. So let's go ahead and get started. I have 5 creams slash liquids. I only have one liquid that I'm going to talk about, and I know that the first question that everybody's going to have is, what about the Hollywood Flawless Filter? I don't use the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter very much as just a highlight. I tend to use that as an all-over base product or as a primer or mixed in with my foundation. These products I'm going to talk about, I use solely as highlights. The only liquid that I'm going to talk about is the Chantecaille Liquid Lumiere Anti-Aging Face Illuminator in the color Sheen. I do believe they have one color darker, and this is a really pretty pinky highlight shade. Super pretty. Now, you may ask, how do I know whether I want a powder or a liquid or a cream? It's a total personal preference, but if you are someone who likes something more skin-like, more subtle, less noticeable, something that's really just gonna look like your lip from within, typically, not always, but typically a cream or liquid is what you're gonna wanna root for. Now, if you have super oily skin, a lot of times you wanna go with powders. You don't feel comfortable using creams or liquids. Totally understandable. If you still want subtle, I've got some options in the powders. But overall, that's kind of when you would want to use a cream or a liquid, or just because you want to have different options in your collection. The next 4 are creams. This is from Fit Glow Beauty, and it is in the Lumi Firm. I don't know if it's got like an Illuminator name or whatever. I will have it up on the screen because on the bottom, which I've got covered up with a label, I think it just says Lumi Firm. But this is their highlight version of these little cute futuristic looking pots that all the Lumi Firms come in. They also have bronzers and blushes, but this is the highlight color. This one is closer to my skin tone. It's got a little more warmth to it. So that is the Lumi Firm, if you can see it. Not as blinding. You can see as it catches the lights. Not as blinding as this Chantecaille Sheen, but it's still got definite highlight qualities. Next is from Jane Iredale, and this is in the color complete of their In Touch highlighter. Now, when highlighters like this come in sticks, I personally don't tend to draw it on my skin. I feel that that tends to pick up foundation that you have underneath. If you're going completely barefaced, then you could definitely do that, but I typically always have foundation on top. So what I like to do is take my finger, warm up the product on my finger, and then apply it. This one is a more sheer formula, and it has a little bit of a pink undertone, but because it's so sheer, it's not as easy to pick up on the undertone. If you have more fair skin, this is gonna be a good choice for you, but it also works on my skin, even in the summer when I would consider myself more of a medium. The next one is the same type of delivery as the Jane Iredale. This is the Ilia Polka Dots and Moonbeams. The new packaging is a different color, but it still comes in the stick form. This one I use the same exact way as the Jane, and it's very similar, except it has more of a champagne slash yellow undertone than the Jane, which is more of a pink. So that is the Ilia. Still the same sheer. You'll notice that I feel like the ones that come in the tubes like this or the sticks tend to sheer out a little bit more. It's just a little bit of a different undertone. And then finally, this is the one I talked about in last month's favorites. This is the Lilah B Glisten and Glow Skin Illuminator. This is one that I would say if you have combo to oily skin, you could still use because it has a very unique cream to powder finish. It really dries down like a powder on the skin. It almost feels like a powder in the pan. This is similar to the Ilia in tone and kind of sheerness. So it's right there. The difference is in the formula. So that is the Lilah B Glisten and Glow. All of those are so gorgeous. It just depends on what undertone you're wanting, how crazy loud you want your highlight to be. I think out of all of them, obviously the Chantecaille Sheen has the most amount of highlight, but it's very easy to sheer down as well. And being in the liquid form, it's also good to mix in with foundations if you want that more luminous effect, or if you want to sheer down the coverage of a foundation. That's a perfect way to do it, when obviously with the creams that wouldn't be near as easy to do unless you're mixing it with a cream foundation. So those are all of my liquid cream highlight favorites. Let's jump into the powders. So the remaining ones are powders. And again, I have divided them up into 3 categories. The first 3 I'm going to show you are the most subtle, meaning I could pile these suckers on my face over and over and over again, and I'm still going to get the same effect. So if you're someone that has texture or has more fine lines and wrinkles and they just steer clear of powder highlights because they feel like they just accentuate them, this is going to be the category for you. The first one I'm going to talk about is not new to my favorite highlights. In fact, I believe it's made it into every single one I have done over the years. And it is from the drugstore, very affordable. It's Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I know a lot of y'all love this highlighter. It's definitely not the most expensive packaging, but when you're paying $5 for something, you know, beggars can't be choosers. The product is what matters, and the product is gorgeous. It is in a baked dome formula. When I first talked about this, a couple people scared me and said that it was being discontinued, and I went and ordered 2 more. And this is still my original. I'm like, am I ever really going to get through a highlight? There's one highlight in here that I think I will actually finish up. I was just so in love with this, and still am, that I was like, no, it can't go away. It has not been discontinued. They do have a couple of different colors. This is in Be My Highlight number 10. It has a little bit of a peachy skin tone undertone. I made sure my hands were nice and not self-tan for this video. Aren't y'all proud of me? No, really, it's like my day to self-tan tonight, and they're showing it, but I think it helps show the color better. So that is the Essence Pure Nude Be My Highlight. The next one is also not new to my collection. It is technically an eyeshadow, but I use it mostly for highlight. And actually, this is another one that I'm going to use up, and I already have a backup. This is from Iredale, and it is the eyeshadow in the color Allure. So you can see how much I have used of it. This is glorious as a highlight. I just can't speak highly enough about how pretty this is. And you'll notice that with both of these, it's not really even shimmery. It's just got a really pretty sheen to it, which makes them perfect for this subtle category. So that is the Iredale Allure. Looking at it in the pan, I would say that it's pinkier than the Essence, but I really think it's a little bit peachier. If you don't know, peach highlighters are my favorite. If I had to pick an undertone, it would forever and always be peach. And then finally, this is the one that I have on my cheeks today. This is from Tarte, and it is the Shape Tape Glow Powder. Now, I don't know if you can get this anywhere other than QVC. That's where I got mine. Comes in this kind of UFO looking packaging. No mirror, but lots of product in there. It's got 7 grams of product. Domed, baked formula. And again, it's what I have on my cheeks today. And I use a very large brush to apply this, and it just never looks too much for me. Now, this is going to be more of a champagne color. I mean, when they were doing like their promo videos on QVC, people were using this as a setting powder. Now, I wouldn't personally do that, but to each their own. So it is right there. So it's more of a champagne shade. And these are so subtle, I'm hoping they even pick up on camera. But it shows you, but you can see how that one looks on my skin. It shows you how subtle these are, how sheer they can be applied, and how they can be built up. Now, another one that is in my kit that I would definitely put in this category that I know people use as a setting powder as well is the Hourglass Luminous Light. I will link that down below because it is hands down my favorite bridal highlight of all time. I have gone through multiple compacts of that. And as a highlight, to go through compacts of a highlight and repurchase, that shows how much you love it. So that is my subtle category. Now I have three that kind of goes in the middle. You can put them on a little more subtle, but you can definitely make them a little more blingy. The first one I'm going to talk about is also technically, I think, marketed as an eyeshadow, kind of. This is the Lancome Monochromatique in Eclat. And these are marketed as kind of multi-purpose products. So it can be an eyeshadow, a highlight, a face color, a blush. They even say you can use them on your lips. I think I've maybe used this as an eyeshadow one time, a couple times, but it stays in my highlight drawer. And I don't know if you can see, but real close, I have hit pan on this. It did have a dome when I first got it. That's pretty much gone. This is, so yeah, you're gonna be able to see in these swatches. These have a little bit more of a, I don't wanna say shimmer because that kind of turns people off thinking it's gonna be metallic. It's not that. It's just got a little bit more of a punch to it. So you can see. That's the Lancome Eclat. Lancome Monochromatique in Eclat. And this one is more of a pinky champagne undertone. The next one is going to be in my peach category for my peach lovers out there. And this is the Clinique Powder Pop Flower Highlighter. Gorgeous highlighter. Love it. It had like really pretty flowers. You can see I've really worn those down on the center of the product because I love this so much. And again, it is a baked gelée formula, and you're going to be able to see in the swatch, it is much more noticeable than some of the subtle ones, but you can apply this as if when it's first applied, it could have been in that subtle category. But when you build it up, it's more in that mid-tone, that middle area, but it's so pretty, and it's not so peach that you are going to feel like you have a peach stripe on your face by any means. Very, very, very flattering. So flattering. And then another peach product. This is newer to my collection. It's probably the third or fourth highlight that I have had from Chanel, and by far my favorite. It actually comes in a duo. This is the Fleur de Printemps Duo Blush and Highlighter. Blush and Highlighter Duo from Chanel. Now, I love both of these products so much. I have used them a lot, but I'm specifically talking about the highlighter in this product. However, I'm not saying you should just buy it for the highlighter because I feel like if you're gonna buy it for the highlighter, you're gonna love the blush. They're both fabulous. But this highlighter is peach. Now, when I first got it, I said, yeah, that's gonna be like a blush topper. That is going to be too dark on my skin, but it really is not. It even swatches scary. But please do not let that fool you. If you search some of my other videos where I have this on, you'll see you don't have a peach stripe down your face. But that is it right there, the Fleur de Printemps, I think. Again, I'm from Nashville, not France. But it's so pretty. It is so pretty, but it's not too much, but it's a little more than subtle. Okay, let's talk about my favorite three that are gonna be for y'all who really like to be seen from far away with your highlights. You are of the camp that thinks, why even wear a highlight if people can't see the highlight? I get it. I have my days like that, for sure. So the three that have made it into this category starts out with one that is probably my favorite highlighter of all time. I mean, that's a big thing, but it just is. And unfortunately, this company is going out of business. This is from Becca. This is the Shimmering Skin Perfector in Champagne Pop. Becca made an announcement a couple of weeks ago that as of September of 2021, they will no longer be in business. So if you have favorite Becca products, stock up. You better believe I've already stocked up on the Champagne Pop. I dropped this and it broke. If I have one negative thing to say about these highlighters is that they are super fragile. I never travel with them, but this fell off of my vanity and shattered, so I had to do the whole alcohol press it back in technique. Still works fine. This is a peachy undertone beautiful highlight. I mean, I can't even, oh, it is just so pretty. I think we all know what Champagne Pop looks like. I love all of these for eyeshadows, do not get me wrong, but Champagne Pop's one of my favorite eyeshadows. Stick on some warm matte colors, put this on the lid, and you have a beautiful eyeshadow look. I've done videos on it before. It's so pretty. Definitely keep that in mind. If you are a Becca lover, stock up while you can. The next one is from RMS Beauty. This is their Luminizing Powder in Grande. They have 2 different luminizing powder colors and a bronzer color. This is my favorite of the 2 luminizers. It is so pretty. And honestly, when I swatch it, it's not gonna look like, oh, well, this shouldn't be in that category. But when you apply it to your face, it is in that category. Like, y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, but that's the Grande Dame right there. I promise you, when you apply it to the face, it's seen. Now, it's still not like, I mean, as long as you blend stuff in well enough, you're never gonna look like you have a stripe on your face, but this is seen. It's beautiful, a clean beauty company. If you're very interested in that, it's definitely one, along with the Ilia, the Jane, the Chantecaille, and the Fit Glow, and the Lilah B, to look into. I just love that so much. Now, probably the most blinding highlight in my collection, but also one of my very favorites, and if you are a lover of gold highlights, you're going to love this. This is the Persona Cali Glow Highlighter in the color Zuma. This is a highlight, and I'm not mad at it. It's just so pretty. Again, this is another really pretty, look at that. Yes, that's a highlight right there. It's a really pretty eyeshadow. Oh, you just can't go wrong with this. I really like this one in the summer, not only because I like to be a little bit more blinding with my highlights in the summer, but also because I tend to reach for golds more in the summer than any other time. You've probably noticed I don't have a ton of gold highlights in this video. It's not my very favorite undertone of highlight. I prefer peaches, champagnes, pinks, and then golds. So it's actually my least favorite, but there is a time and a place for it. And man, there is a time and a place for Zuma. I love it. If you haven't tried these, please do. There are other colors in the collection as well, but love me some Zuma. And that rounds out my collection of highlighters, my favorite ones. I see one on my vanity that I know people are going to ask about. So real quick, the Westman Atelier highlighters. Love them for cream highlights. However, they do not dry down. They do stay a little balmy and tacky on the skin. So if you are not a fan of that, you're not going to want to look into those. I don't know that I've left anything else out. Again, if I've talked about a highlighter in the past that I've loved, I don't not love it anymore. These are just the ones that I choose. I know people are going to say, what do I think works best on mature skin? I would start in the cream, liquid, and subtle categories and then go from there. Other than that, hopefully I ticked off all the boxes. If you have any other questions, be sure and leave them down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite highlighter of all time, and everything will be linked down in the description box below. They are affiliate links. I'm very open about that and very appreciative if you choose to use them. So thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, safe, and sane, and that most of all, you go out and have a very blessed day.